Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Alumni Association of the City College of New York's 142nd Annual Alumni Gala. Please welcome your host for the evening, 2020 Townsend Harris Medalist, Dr. J. Cherie Allen, class of 2011.
So, officially, good evening, everyone. We'll try that one more time. I actually had to change my flight, and I flew in from Minnesota this morning. I left my house at 4 a.m., and I still have the energy going for you. So, I'm going to need you to give it back to me. Good evening, everyone. So to our alumni, family members, college faculty, staff, friends, and community members, welcome. Welcome to the 142nd Alumni Annual Gala. One time for yourselves being here with us today. We are so grateful that you took the time out of your busy schedules to join us on tonight. I am Dr. J. Cherie Allen, your host for the evening. It's actually a very special moment for me to be here. This is my first, I think, official time really coming back on campus. I may have visited at one point, maybe 5 or so years ago, but my first official time coming back since graduating, and now I've graduated in double digits. I'm starting to feel, woo. And the last time I was in Shepherd Hall, I believe it was related to a graduation event. And so it really brings back fond memories. Also to see Dr. Boudreau, when I was here, he was with me in the Colin Powell School, so it's been amazing to watch you at this point as well. And I was a 2020 recipient of the Townsend Harris Award, and so I celebrated virtually. But it is a pleasure to catch up on the in-person celebrations tonight. So I'm currently a board-certified family physician. I practice at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. So New York is still home, will always be home, but for now, Rochester, Minnesota is where you'll find me. But welcome back to all of you, and again, being in person. So tonight, we carry on a tradition that's been going on for 142 years. Right, this Alumni Association has gathered annually, even during the height of the pandemic when we had to do it virtually, to break bread together and to raise a glass in honor of our fellow alumni and their achievements. We celebrate tonight 7 incredible graduates who've gone on to do great work in New York City and beyond. So please join me in applauding our 2022 Townsend Harris Medalists. And when I say your name, please stand and wave to be acknowledged. Francee Covington. Elaine Golding. And you're not about to see double. This is her twin, Elaine Golding. Stewart Kampel. Dr. Henry Posamentier. Dr. Leonard Susskind. And Dr. Alan Taylor. And tonight, we also salute the Alumni Association's 75th Finley Award honoree, Anthony Romero. So there are just a few more acknowledgments before we begin with the formal program and with the food. And on July 1st, a new group of executive officers of the Alumni Association took the helm, and I'd like to introduce them to you now. So when I call your name, please stand and be recognized. Lawrence Greengrass, class of 73, he's the president. Dr. Joyce Coppin, class of 58, the first vice president. Xingpei Chu, class of 87, the second vice president. Peter Goodman, class of 61, the third vice president. Diane Rodriguez, class of 78, the treasurer. Sean Chin Chance, class of 2005, secretary. And Jacqueline Brooks, class of 80 and an MFA in 83, and she's the historian. But Jacqueline is not with us in the Great Hall this evening. She is, like so many of you, watching and interacting with us on our event platform from home. Hello, send a wave to everyone watching from home. There are currently close to 200 unique users logged on from around the world. So to all of you joining us virtually, thank you for welcoming us into your home this evening. But regardless of where you are tonight, on a couch, at home, or in this gorgeously decorated Great Hall, let's raise a glass, a toast, to our alma mater. We are forever bound by ties that naught can sever. Hail we alma mater ever. Cheers. So can anyone tell me where that's from? Yes, yes, yes. My Lavender, the school song. I didn't get the vocal skills. I'll stick to the medicine. So at this time, I'd like to ask the president of the Alumni Association to make his way to the platform. Larry Greengrass is a graduate of the City College class of 1973 and went on to achieve a JD from the New York University School of Law class of 76. He grew up in the Bronx, the son of 2 Holocaust survivors. He is a well-known attorney in the insurance and reinsurance community, having retired after spending more than 40 years at leading the law firm Mount Cotton, Woolen, and Greengrass. Since his retirement from the firm, he's continued to handle disputes between insurance and reinsurance companies as an arbitrator. He's here tonight with his wife, Nancy, his son, Seth, his daughter, Alyssa, and his soon-to-be son-in-law, Andrew. Please welcome Larry.
Thank you so much for getting us started. I think this is going to be an excellent host. Thank you very much. So good evening, everyone. It is fantastic to see all of you. Actually, I have to take these off to see all of you. But it is just wonderful to see all of you, see old friends, make some new friends. And to the people online who are watching, we welcome you. You're important to us, and we appreciate you setting aside time to watch this great event. You know, it is really an extraordinary honor to serve as the president of the Alumni Association. The mission of the Alumni Association, and I'll actually read from the formal mission statement in a couple moments, is to promote the City College of New York, a place which fosters an environment of academic excellence to all of its students who enter this great hall. Also, critically important is the role of the Alumni Association in making and keeping connections to our vibrant community of alumni. So first, let me acknowledge a few people in the room. Our college president, Dr. Vincent Boudreau. Dee Mazalewski is not quite yet sitting here, but shortly I understand she will be here, so I want to acknowledge her presence. She has a whole bunch of titles, one of which is the head of the City College Foundation, which is obviously the critical fundraising entity for the college. So we're going to welcome her when she arrives in a few minutes. I want to welcome and note the past presidents of the Alumni Association who are here, past officers, current officers, board members, including former President Gary Kalnick, who, Gary, stand up. Gary really led us so ably during the absolute worst of the pandemic and deserves a great vote and measure of confidence from everybody in the association and the college for the work that he did. And he hasn't stepped away. First of all, I will not let him step away. Second, he was heavily involved, yes, in raising funds for this evening's event. So kudos again to Gary Kalnick. We appreciate all your work. Thank you to David Covington, our executive director, and his fantastic staff who worked so hard to make this evening possible. Welcome to our scholarship winners. We are so proud of you. This is one of the best things that the Alumni Association does. It awards scholarships. And we really are looking forward to the success that you folks are going to achieve in your lives. And we're proud of all of you, each and every one of you. And you will hear from one of our scholarship winners later this evening. Of course, we want to congratulate our award winners. We are so proud of them, and you will be hearing much more about and from the award winners as the evening rolls on. And a big thank you again to our fantastic host who flew in from Minneapolis or Minnesota to host this great event, a former Townsend Harris Award winner. You got your medal, and very deservedly so, and thank you for hosting this evening. Now, as I am known to do, whether you like it or not, I like to read a couple sentences from the official Alumni Association's mission statement at various meetings, board meetings, events, so I'm going to do it again. Quote, "The purpose of the Alumni Association is to promote the general welfare of the City College and its alumni, to establish beneficial relationships between the college and the alumni, and to advance the principles of public higher education without regard to race, creed, color, or national origin." Close quote. How's that for a mission statement given the state of our country and the troubled times we're dealing with, right? Not too shady. Not too shady at all. So we promote, as you know, meaningful connections among alumni, and one of the chief ways we do that is through our affiliate groups. And we're proud of the diversity and the vibrancy of the affiliate groups of the Alumni Association. So I'm just going to read them off to you. Art, architecture, Asian. Absolutely. There's going to be a medal for the group that gives the loudest applause. Yeah. You could see Gary Kalnick later. He has the award in his pocket. Art, architecture, Asian. Business and economics. Where's Charles? There you go. Education. Engineering. Black alumni. ROTC. Latino alumni. Varsity alumni. Richard, varsity alumni. Okay. Right. Center for Worker Education. Political science. Communications. Thank you. Thank you, Jane, for leading that. And Young Professionals alumni. Now, should you be interested in joining any of these affiliate groups or starting a new one, please, we'd love to have you. Supporting students is a vital component of our work, and we do it in many ways, and you're going to hear just a couple of those ways this evening, the scholarships and mentoring, which we're really working on, and I'm going to be pushing you folks to get involved in. To keep you informed about what's going on at the college, the Alumni Association produces its own publications and it circulates college publications so that you are kept apprised at important events going on here. Look, we have many differences, social, political, but what we have in common is a lot more important. As alumni of the great City College of New York, we are part of something that is bigger than ourselves. We share a unique bond that we should all be proud of. To come from an extraordinary institution that has done so much for so many generations to lift the economic and social accomplishments of its students, as it did for me. I'm the first in my family to go to college, and every time I'm on the campus, I hear that story over and over and over again. This bond that we have with the college requires us to fulfill a responsibility to give back. And I think that's something that you're probably going to hear a little bit more of as the evening goes on. Did you know that the Wall Street Journal ranked City College of New York this year as the #1 best value among the top 250 colleges in the country? #1. Now, I'll just make a wild guess that Dr. Boudreau is going to talk a little bit about what's going on at the college and what needs to be done to continue to move ahead. I want to thank you, really, all of you, again, for your support this evening, for the Alumni Association to do what we do, and for us to do even more. We need your continued help, support, and involvement. To be effective, to make a transformative impact on students and alumni, we need to work together, and we can still have a good time doing that. It has certainly been a challenge the last few years to move ahead during the pandemic, but we are still standing strong and moving forward. Tonight you'll hear from a tiny fraction of our community who represent excellence in their chosen fields and who will be forever a part of the impressive group of the alumni of City College. Thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Larry. Now I'm pleased to introduce the 13th president of the City College of New York, Vincent Boudreau. Dr. Boudreau is the former dean of the Colin Powell School for Civic and Global Leadership. He was my dean when I was a student in the center, and is a specialist in the politics of social movements, particularly in Southeast Asia. We're so pleased he's here tonight, and please welcome to the podium, Dr. Boudreau.
Well, if you know anything about me, you know that I spent the last week writing my speech. And it was going to start off like this. I bet you have no idea what the Wall Street Journal. So I got nothing now, folks. You know, here's the thing about when we're tremendously proud of that. To have that, particularly coming out of COVID, a moment that I think really solidified to all of us on this campus what this institution is for, to have that come from the Wall Street Journal. But it's not the only recognition that we've gotten in the last couple of weeks. The Princeton Review, apart from all the other rankings, one of the ones that we cherish the most is a ranking that asks the question, what difference does a college education make in the lives of your students? And it ranked in one category, national universities. Now, I don't know if anyone has got a degree from another CUNY school, but all the other CUNY schools are regional universities. You are sitting in the only national university in the CUNY system. And in that national university ranking from Princeton Review, the #1 school is, guess what? No, it's Princeton, obviously, right? Come on. Princeton, Stanford, City College. Harvard's down there someplace, Yale's down there someplace, Cornell's down there. We're number 3. But we do that, we hit these marks as we're making other achievements. So one of the things that we're tremendously proud of, and you've probably heard me talk about it, but we will keep talking about it, is that our economic impact in the 10 counties around this campus is $1.9 billion every year. Now, similar methodology, similar company, doing that same study with Syracuse University, with its own law school, big-time sports, medical facilities, hospital, they're $1.1 billion. So we're almost twice as large all by ourselves as Syracuse University is. So put those two things together. Put together what you already know, because I've told you about it before, where we stand in relationship to social mobility. Just about the best college in the country in producing social mobility among our graduates. Take that Princeton ranking of just a few weeks ago, number 3 in the country. Take the Wall Street Journal's ranking, the number 1 best value college in the country, and then add to it this understanding that we're creating all of that economic impact, economic value in the city, and you get what I think is at the heart of our mission statement, the whole reason why we were founded as an institution. It's not charity. It's not, it includes extending a hand to students that might not be able to go to college, and but for City College with the support of this great association. But we're also proving every single year in the social phenomenon that is the successive graduating classes of City College, that if you want a society that is stable, if you want a society that is prosperous, if you want to build democracy, the best bet you can make is in the education of people who come from humble beginnings but have tremendous potential. You're sitting in a room that is the architectural manifestation of that founding mission, that embodies the hope we had for you when you were a student at City College, and for the students that are at City College today. And every year, as people evaluate the work that we do at this college, the impact it makes on the lives of our individual students, and the impact it makes on our society, that founding dream is validated. And so I take students in freshman convocation into this room every single year, and I ask them to look at the frescoes and the pillars and the marble floors and the stained glass, and to take seriously the proposition that the grandeur of this room and all the beauty, all the artistry, all the money that went into constructing this room was an explicit testament to our hopes and our dreams and our confidence in their potential and in their future. So now I want to tell you a few things about new directions at City College. You've heard about our rankings, and there's more if you're interested. You'll see them in the alumni newsletter. But we're doing some new things on this campus, and we're doing some new things especially in this moment of COVID. Like many of you, we struggled during COVID, and I and the great people that work in this institution tried every day to balance the task of keeping our community, ensuring their health, but not letting the mission of the college falter. 2020, 2021, 2022 is the only year that those students would graduate from City College. It was their one chance to get the education that you got. And so we took very seriously the proposition that while we want to keep people safe, we want to preserve that mission. But we did more than that. Our laboratories became places that produced the sterile medium that tests were conducted in. And in our engineering labs, we produced PPE equipment. And in some of our biotechnology labs, we researched antivirals. And so the resources of the college, what we knew about public health, what we knew about mental health during the pandemic, the resources of the college became available to our community. Our medical students graduated 3 months early so that they could finish their final 3 courses out in public health facilities in those early dangerous months of the pandemic, taking care of patients. They got credit, the final credit they needed to graduate, in service to our communities battling back the virus. And so what I've said to our students and to our community, and really to anyone who would listen, is that the proposition of the whole people, the reason this institution was founded on the promise of the whole people, it's important during times of prosperity. It's important when times are good. But the people that have come to this institution as educators and as students and come back as alumni know that the real reason we have a city college is that when we really need it, when we need to harness the will and the talent and the imagination and the commitment and the vision and the experience of the whole people, that's when our city needs the graduates of City College. So we're doing a couple of new things now. One of the big new thrusts of the work that we've been doing in the college is to think explicitly about the needs of the world. So we have, for instance, an engineering school that has rededicated itself to the prospect of decarbonizing the grid, pulling expertise from all different departments together to work on that project. In our adult and continuing education program, we have recently founded the Charles Rangel Infrastructure Workforce Development Project, designed to prepare people living in our communities for those good jobs that are going to come out of the infrastructure bill. And not just rebuilding the old infrastructure, but making sure they have the technology, the digital acumen, the ability to operate in an artificial intelligence environment, to build a new infrastructure. We recently acquired a $15 million grant to acquire space in a purpose-built life sciences building on 126th Street. And what we will do in that building is take the innovations from our science departments, from our engineering school, from our medical school, and not just publish the results of our work in journals, but commercialize them. Develop the products that can be brought to market in a city college facility for the benefit of humanity and not incidentally for the revenue stream it'll bring to the college. We have an engineering school that's over 100 years old and have never made an institutional effort to bring their discoveries to market. We have a Colin Powell School that every year is building new, specifically targeted scholarships and fellowships for students. So 2 years ago, I would have told you about their brand new Climate Change Fellows program. And last year, I might have told you about their Racial Justice Fellows program. They've just inaugurated a Moynihan Center dedicated to the prospect of reigniting a sense of public-spirited debate in public policy on this campus. And just weeks before that, they established a Center for Justice and Democracy that will train advocates, many of them mid-career advocates, to fight some of the social justice issues that are so important in our world today. And so, school by school, an education school that is recommitting itself to meeting the needs of an educational system coming out of COVID, an architecture school that is thinking about how we rebuild the built environment after the pandemic, and a medical school dedicated to providing primary care in underserved communities. Department by department, division by division, this school is dedicated not just to educating young men and women from underserved communities, but by taking the expertise of the college, of the institution, and deploying it to resolve the problems that surface in those communities. We are as vital an educational institution as this city and this nation has ever seen. And this is your institution. This is the same institution that you came to. This is also, by the way, our 175th anniversary. Now I'm going to gripe just a little bit, because if you go on the City University of New York's website, they say that they were founded 175 years ago. I went to the investiture of a president of a different CUNY school a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about how Townsend Harris talked about the whole people at their founding. But we know in this room that this whole enterprise of public education that is accessible to the whole people began when the founders of the City College of New York, when the founders of the Free Academy, our heritage, decided that education was for the whole people. And that's what we're living today. Now I'm going to charge you with something. I've told you all the great things about the college. I've told you all the reasons why you'd have to be nuts not to invest in the City College of New York. Tremendous economic development, an investment in social mobility when social mobility no longer exists in much of this country. It lives in places like CCNY, and on and on and on. There are a million reasons to invest in this campus. And ladies and gentlemen, in Albany, it is budget season. There is no better spokespeople for the value of this institution. Well, the best spokespeople for the value of this institution is the students that are here now. But you know what? You're in second place. So I'm going to charge you. You are the best ambassadors we have. You are well positioned. You have lived the benefits of this institution. Just being here in the Great Hall, you show your commitment to the continuation of our tradition. Let's not let this budget season pass without every person in this room making it clear to elected officials in Albany that we understand, and they should understand, that this institution deserves their full-throated support, and support a little further down as well. Despite everything I've told you, about the success and the vibrancy of this institution, we face next year probably about a $12 million deficit. And it's a $12 million deficit because the state refuses to acknowledge that the best investment they can make in the future of their citizenry, the economic vibrancy of their economy, the stability of their democracy, is an investment in public higher education. We have had a better budget this year than we ever have had in the past. But across the nation, the idea of public education as a benefit for everyone has faded into distant memory. It costs a City College student $7,000 to go to school in this institution, and if they're eligible for financial aid, they pay nothing, just like some of you did back in the day, right? But as we become increasingly a tuition-driven institution, that $7,000 no longer pays for the excellent education that we are committed to preserving on this campus. So join me, I charge you, I insist, join me in making sure that everyone you meet knows how important City College was in your life, knows how important City College is to the future of this community, and knows how important it is to the future of our students. I know I can count on you. I've said it again and again. The future of this college runs through the advocacy and support of our alumni, and you are a great example. Thank you for being with us here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, President Boudreau. So as the first course is being served in the Great Hall, a quick reminder to all of us here in the hall, as well as everyone watching from home, as we make our way through this program, please remember to make your donation to the Alumni Association. We just got more information that I felt we could even process on why our current students are so deserving of the support that we are now in a position to offer. This event is the association's only major fundraiser and a major contributor to the annual budget. So if you believe in our mission of supporting and engaging alumni and current students, and you can't, having just heard what you just heard, not believe in this mission anymore, while continuing to support and promote this great college, right, our alma mater, our CCNY, please, please, please offer your support. It is incredibly meaningful. Remember that the Alumni Association is a 501c3 and donations are tax deductible. The association does not receive operating funds from the college or from the City University of New York. We are alumni supported and alumni directed. So your donations also help our programs to keep going today. And now, for the reason why we are here, our Townsend Harris Medal presentations. Cue the video. So the Townsend Harris Medal is the most coveted alumni achievement. It is, of course, named after the founder of the City College of New York. Established in 1933 by a gift from the class of 1906, the Townsend Harris Medals are awarded each year at this alumni event to those who have outstanding postgraduate achievements in their chosen fields. Candidates are selected from nominations and by a special committee comprised of former recipients of the medal and subject to final approval by the Alumni Association Board of Directors. So our first recipient for the evening, Francee Covington.
Francee Covington entered City College in the first Sikh class and graduated from the college in 1970. Ms. Covington's career began during her sophomore year at CCNY when she started working at WCBS-TV, Channel 2, finding and lining up stories for reporters assisting in the field and editing. She co-founded a CCNY campus newspaper, The Paper, with fellow students Paul Sims and Luis Reyes Rivera. The Paper is still making strides 50 years later, and alumni of the paper have established the Paper Scholarship for Social Justice. After WCBS, Ms. Covington produced shows at WBZ-TV, Boston, and KPIX-TV, San Francisco. For 20 years, she owned her eponymous production company, serving Fortune 500 clients, governmental entities, and nonprofits. Her professional recognition includes 3 Emmy nominations, a Telly Award, and North California Addy Awards. She received the Cable Car Award for Outstanding In-Depth News as one of the first television producers to extensively cover the AIDS epidemic in San Francisco. Retirement has allowed her to return to her first love, writing. Her essays and fiction have been published in numerous anthologies and newspapers. She recently completed her first novel and is finishing a book of short stories. Ms. Covington will be featured in the upcoming documentary The 5 Demands, which covers the 1969 student takeover of the CCNY campus.
I was born and grew up in Brooklyn. My parents were part of the huge migration of African Americans moving from the small towns of the South to the megalopolises of the North. They came seeking opportunity for themselves and their children. I found opportunity at CCNY in the Sikh program. Dean Alan Ballard was the first dean of Sikh. He and the teachers and the counselors were just wonderful. Tony Cade was one of my teachers, a marvelous, marvelous teacher who just lit up every room she ever entered. And in 1970, she asked me to contribute to her anthology called The Black Woman. And that anthology is still in print today. If it were not for SEEK and CCNY, I might never have met her. During my sophomore year, WCBS TV was looking for young Black people to come and intern at the station. To be a producer was not something I had ever even dreamed of, let alone was able to accomplish. I thank everyone who helped me along the way, who nurtured me, mentored me in all of the stations I've worked in. Being at CCNY and having very heated discussions on campus and in the cafeterias really helped me understand how powerful my voice could be. I have been active in the fight for social justice since I was in the single digits, working the mimeograph machine, handing out flyers, protesting, and being arrested. It is because of my parents, my extended family, and the excellent education that I received at CCNY that I have had such a marvelous career, a career that has taken me to every continent except Antarctica. I'm grateful to the former members of the paper staff, and this year we were able to put together funds for a scholarship program at CCNY, and we gave out our first two $1,000 scholarships to two undergraduates at CCNY. It is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. It is the Paper Scholarship for Social Justice. Again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful award.
In you, Francee Covington, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Her son, Mr. Chandler Covington Graddick. Everyone, please join me in congratulating Francee on this achievement. Our next Townsend Harris medalist is Cleonis Ellen Golding.
Cleonis Ellen Golding graduated from City College in 1962 with a BS in psychology and in 1965 with an MSc in clinical and school psychology. Out of some 3,000 students, Ms. Ellen Golding and her twin sister were two of the 11 students of color that entered City College day session in the 1958 freshman year. Ms. Ellen Golding had a very rewarding career as a nationally certified school psychologist. Her excellent performances at the license examination earned her a fully paid internship as a psychologist in training, becoming the first ever African American psychologist in training in the New York City educational system. Ms. Ellen Golding was a civil servant in New York City for almost 4 decades, doing work such as reevaluating disproportionately misdiagnosed students of color. She also took pride in leading positive self-esteem group therapy and in volunteering after work to tutor Harlem parents for the GED and help them qualify for a career ladder program. Ms. Ellen Golding and her twin sister have been members of the City College Alumni Association Board of Directors as Class A directors and as co-chairs of the Program Committee, both honored in 2008 with the Alumni Service Award.
so much for this opportunity to express my appreciation to Jane Tillman Irving for nominating me for the coveted Townsend Harris Medal. I really am very happy that my sister and I are the recipients of this very, very special honor from alma mater, our beloved CCNY. Also wish to thank the Board of City College Alumni Association and also the staff of the Alumni Association office, David Covington, the executive director, and his wonderful staff. Really wish to express deep and heartfelt appreciation to our dear parents of blessed memory who came from Jamaica and became wonderful citizens of decency, honesty, and high standards for their children when we came along. They always encouraged a love of learning, and we appreciate the fact that they did that. They were also great role models to other children in the neighborhood and to the family. Our father became a physician against odds, coming from Jamaica, and forged his way to become a medical doctor, finishing Howard University in 1936. We also wanted to thank our great teachers along the way, from elementary school and nursery school, Mayfield Nursery School in Harlem, near City College on Convent Avenue, 186 Manhattan, State Junior High School 164, Bronx High School Science, and we were able to qualify through examination testing, entrance exams. Thank you so much for the great education that we got at City College for free, undergraduate and graduate school. All of the great teachers that taught us and the mentors that we had, including the first Black psychologist in the school system, Mrs. Elroy Rivers, and the first Black man in the school system, Mr. William Sneed, who went to undergraduate school with our father, and who were the inspiration of Dr. Kenneth Clark, who was CCNY professor, first Black full professor at CCNY from 1942. We thank him for his inspiration. We also want to thank our family and all our friends who are supporting us this evening, and we appreciate their presence. And we will forever be grateful to all the people who impacted our lives and trained us to help us to be the school psychologists that we became in a field where there are very few of us, and very few times we get an opportunity to help children who were stigmatized and to get them on the right path. Thank you so much, and good evening.
In you, Cleonis Ellen Golding, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Ellen is here tonight with her identical twin, Elaine, also getting a Townsend Harris Award this evening, and more than 3 tables of family and friends. Everyone, please join me in congratulating her on this achievement. Oh. Another round of applause. So you're not seeing double, right? Our next Townsend Harris medalist is Ellen's identical sister, Constance Elaine Golding.
Constance Elaine Golding graduated from City College with a B.S. in Psychology and Mathematics in 1962 and with an MSc in Clinical and School Psychology in 1965. Her first job as a research assistant of Professor Francis P. Hardesty in the Psychology Department helped her sharpen her skills in evaluation and diagnosis. She was permanently appointed as a tenured psychologist for the New York City Board of Education in 1972. As an African American psychologist, she was better able to understand the needs of Black youngsters and their families, to be a change agent, and to empower Black parents to advocate for the best interests of their children against hostile school authority figures. Ms. Elaine Golding and her twin sister have been life members of the City College Alumni Association from day one. Together, they spearheaded the establishment of a scholarship in memory of an outstanding educator, Andrew G. Donaldson. The award was renamed the Golding Donaldson Leadership in Education Scholarship in 2017. In 2008, Ms. Elaine Golding and her twin sister both received from the Mandala Soul Cultural Center the distinctive title of Cultural Mothers of Harlem.
Thank you to Jane Tillman Irving and the Townsend Harris Medal Committee for nominating and selecting me as a 2022 Townsend Harris Medalist in recognition of my decades-old career as a psychologist in the New York City schools. I owe a great deal of gratitude to City College of New York for providing a world-class tuition-free education to me with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Mathematics and a Master of Science in Clinical and School Psychology, both tuition-free and debt-free. Thank you, CCNY, and for giving me what I needed to prepare for a very rewarding and challenging career as a psychologist in the New York City schools. I'd also like to thank David Covington, Executive Director of the Alumni Association office, and his staff for making this wonderful evening possible. I'd also like to thank friends and family who've been supportive to me all my life, going back to the very earliest childhood. My parents, of course, Dr. John Vincent Golding Sr., MD, and Mrs. Beryl Benton Golding. I'd like to also dedicate this award in their memory and honor. I'd also like to recognize and honor my late brother, John Vincent Golding Jr., MD, whose family members are here tonight. Wife Betty, nieces Keena, Shayna, and Marin, Marin's husband, Marcus Shaw, and Shayna's husband, Kwame Bailey. Thanks, family, for being here, for traveling from Maryland. We do greatly appreciate it. I'd like to recognize our early childhood friends who were here. The Robinson twins, Joanne Roberta, Claudia Day Chase, and Karen Thompson Green. And also from the old neighborhood and the educator in the New York City school system, who's now retired, Bishop James P. Roberts. I'd also like to recognize our Bronx High School of Science 1958 classmate, Phil Lilienthal, and our CCNY 1962 classmate, Lennox Hines, 2011 Townsend Harris Medalist. And especially like to thank cousin Roy Eaton, classical pianist, who's participating in the program tonight in our honor. Thank you, Roy. And to all others who are watching us virtually and all of our guests at our tables tonight, thank you for coming. And those who are watching virtually, thank you for your participation and support. I hope that everyone will have a wonderful evening and travel safely back home. Good night.
In you, Constance Elaine Golding, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
And Elaine is here with her sister Ellen. You know where I was going with that. And also the many friends and family who've come out to celebrate with them both. Please join me again in congratulating Elaine on her achievement. So I guess a point of personal privilege here to extend another token of gratitude to Elaine and to Ellen. You know, I was a 2020 recipient of the Townsend Harris Award, and we all know what was happening in healthcare in 2020. I was actually completing my National Health Service Corps commitment, so I wasn't at Mayo at the time. I was working in central Minnesota, primarily a rural population, but with a lot of Latinx immigrants working in meatpacking factories. I think you're all familiar with where all those stories went. In Minnesota, 70 miles north of Minneapolis, after George Floyd, election, I mean, you can just imagine the climate at the time. The vaccine came out, it was a rough time to be a primary care physician. And so I am so grateful to Ellen and Elaine because they were the ones who nominated me and were instrumental in getting me to the point of receiving the Townsend Harris Award, and it couldn't have come at a better time. So I am so grateful to the two of you for looking out for all of us, so thank you. So as the caterers are clearing the first course, we are going to take a break soon to serve dinner, but let's award one more medal before we take that break, and that is Stewart Kampel.
Stewart Kampel is a 1959 graduate of City College's Baruch School, where he was editor of The Ticker. He earned a master's degree with honors from the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. He worked part-time in the newsroom at the New York Times until he became a temporary replacement for a caption writer and picture editor. That started a 45-year career at the Times, working on the cultural news desk, foreign desk, financial desk, and metropolitan desk. He was appointed editor of the weekly Long Island section and held that position for 20 years, becoming the face of the Times on Long Island. In addition to his career at the Times, he taught at City College for 16 years and at New York University for 15 years. After leaving the Times, he became an associate editor of the award-winning 22-volume Encyclopedia Judaica, where he wrote more than 200 profiles of Americans in the arts, business, journalism, cartooning, and other fields. He is the co-author of the book Fly Without Fear, about how fearful flyers can learn to control their anxieties about air travel. In recent years, he has been writing feature articles and book reviews for Hadassah magazine. He and his wife, Susan, divide their time between a home in Wellington, Florida, and an apartment in Floral Park, New York.
Good evening. I am humbled and honored to receive the Townsend Harris Medal from the City College Alumni Association, and want to thank my wife, Susan, who has been with me for more than 60 years. Yes, we met at a City College houseplant party when each of us was just out of kindergarten. My journalism career started at The Ticker, the weekly newspaper at City College's Baruch School, and where I learned about who, what, when, where, why, and how. Not only did I learn the rudiments of journalism, facts, 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 and accuracy, 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 but I learned what journalism means, that it has roots in the United States Constitution, that freedom of the press is a cherished right and responsibility, and that there are causes worth fighting for. There was a heritage at the ticker of people who cared, people who thought of the underprivileged and were willing to speak out and champion their plight, people who saw injustice in society, people who were willing to take a stand and argue and explain their positions. I became editor-in-chief of the ticker in my junior semester. Between my junior and senior years, I applied for a job at the New York Times. Unbeknownst to me, the same day an ad appeared in that paper looking for office boys. To weed out the millions of applicants, we took a spelling test. I must have passed because the interviewer asked if I minded working in the late afternoon. No, I said, and I was hired as a messenger out of the newsroom. A few weeks later, the same interviewer offered me a job as a part-time assistant to the secretary to the foreign news editor, who had just won a Pulitzer Prize. From then on, I filed correspondence scrupulously, using my knowledge of the 26 letters of the alphabet to put everything in proper order. I also typed letters and met visiting correspondents. After a few months, I applied to the Columbia Graduate School of Journalism and asked the foreign editor for a recommendation. He was a J School graduate and head of the Alumni Association that year, so I had made a good choice. After graduation with honors and marriage, the Times offered me a position on the picture desk, where I learned to crop pictures. I wrote captions for the advance obituary of John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated a few weeks later. In March 1961, I enlisted in the U.S. Army and served 6 months of active duty, the last 3 at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. Returning to the Times, I spent some time on the reserve news desk, editing fillers for the first edition. In 1964, a Times copy editor was taking a position in Germany, so I guessed that the editing class at City College would need a new instructor. Professor Irving Rosenthal agreed. The first thing I told the students was this: I don't care what newspaper you read, as long as it's the New York Times. My first class had Clyde Haberman and Joe Berger, who later distinguished themselves at the Times, Frank Van Riper, who became Washington bureau chief of the New York Daily News, and others who went on to significant careers in journalism. I taught part-time at City for 16 years and then taught journalism classes, graduate and undergraduate, at New York University for 15 years. My first class there had Dan Barry, also a noted Times journalist. Among the hundreds of students were Pulitzer Prize winners, best-selling authors, foreign correspondents, investigative reporters, radio and television journalists, and journalism educators. In 16 years as a copy editor on the obituary desk at the Times, I made a mark by editing 2 page-one obituaries at the same time, for Jean Cocteau, the French writer, and for Edith Piaf, the chanteuse. One obituary for Alma Mahler, widow of the composer, noted that she carried on a long-time affair with Walter Gropius, founder of the Bauhaus School of Architecture, with Oskar Kokoschka, the Austrian painter, and with Franz Werfel, the German-born poet who was her last husband. That obituary inspired Tom Lehrer, the songwriting and performing satirist, to say it was the spiciest obituary the paper had ever published, and he immortalized Alma in one of his best songs. Somehow, during that period, I found the time to write and publish Fly Without Fear, a book designed to help people cope with their fear of flying. Unfortunately, not too many readers mistook my book for the Erica Jong novel Fear of Flying. My book is now almost 50 years old, and I remain between books. Eventually, I was given a shot at being an assistant to the Metropolitan editor Arthur Gelb. I must have been doing something right, helping to supervise coverage of New York City's financial crisis and the Son of Sam hunt and capture. I remained on the Metropolitan desk under Arthur's successor, Mike Levitas, and his successor, Sidney Schanberg, whose reporting in Cambodia was the basis for the film The Killing Fields. And when Sidney was having difficulties with the editor of the Long Island Weekly, a Sunday section, he asked me to take it over. By that time, we were living on Long Island with our 3 daughters, and I was a logical choice. I thought I would do it for a year or 2. That turned out to be 20 years. I became the face of the New York Times on Long Island, attending legislative meetings, art openings, book signings, governmental functions, etc. I even rang a freedom bell to mark the 300th anniversary of Suffolk County. At the Long Island section, I introduced extensive cultural coverage, had a lively opinion page where I published one of the first articles about AIDS, printed personal columns by well-known Times writers, met Billy Joel, Harry Chapin, and Paul Simon, accompanied our restaurant critic for appraisals, and learned lots of things about the Long Island Railroad. And nowadays, I review fiction and nonfiction for Adasa magazine. So here we are, and I like to think we're still going strong. City College, the Times, my marriage and family, 3 fabulous daughters, 3 accomplished sons-in-laws, and 9 glorious grandchildren. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
In you, Stewart Kampel, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Stewart is here tonight with his daughters Deborah, Allison, and Carolyn. Please join me in congratulating Stewart on this achievement again. So thank you all for your attention and your patience as we worked our way through the first half of our medal presentations. We're now going to take a short break and allow our incredible caterers, Sterling Affairs Catering and Events, a chance to serve dinner. And for those of you at home, we invite you to grab a refill, order takeout, or stretch, but we'll see you all back in a few minutes. While dinner is being served, please enjoy this recorded performance by pianist Mr. Roy Eaton, City College class of 1950 and 2007 Townsend Harris Medalists, provided tonight in honor of his cousins, Ellen and Elaine Golding. Enjoy. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed dinner and an opportunity to fellowship with each other. Lots of great conversations happening in the room. As soon as we get settled, we'll be able to start with the second half of our program. So at the start of dinner, you were listening to the sound really carries in this room. No, so I want to acknowledge the wonderful pieces that we heard at the start of dinner. So that was Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu, and the second piece was Scott Joplin's Solace from Mr. Roy Eaton, who is watching tonight from home. So Roy, thank you very much. So as we move into the second half of the program, it's my pleasure to acknowledge the recipients of the Alumni Association scholarships. All of our recipients, as well as the donors, are listed in your program. Many of the scholars are with us tonight, and at this time, I'd like you all to come up to the stage to be acknowledged and to take a picture with the Alumni Association president. So come on up. It's your 10 seconds of fame. So while they're heading to the stage, a few things I wanted to share with you. So the Alumni Association, and many of you might know this already, we have a mission that's threefold: to engage alumni, to support current students, and to promote the college and its interests. So when we talk about supporting our students, I want us to acknowledge the Alumni Association's various mentoring programs and their many events targeting student involvement and student achievement. So we'll circle back to the association's mentoring program in just a minute. However, sometimes it's just about the simple dollars and cents that help our students accomplish their goals of attending college. And I believe this effort, our scholarships, hits at the heart of our desire to give back. So please, a warm round of applause for our scholarship recipients currently having their photo taken. To represent our scholarship recipients, we'll have Mr. Jorge Martinez, recipient of the Francis M. and Edward S. Plotkin Scholarship in Engineering. He'll be joining us to the podium as soon as he's done with the photo. Oh, there are more scholarship recipients here. Awesome. Thank you, and Mr. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor for me to be here speaking on behalf of all of these wonderful scholars. First of all, I want to show my sincere gratitude to the Alumni Association and to the City College of New York for doing an amazing job helping students to achieve their academic goals and for choosing me to be a scholarship recipient. My name is Jorge Alejandro Martinez Ariza, a current CCNY student in my senior year. I grew up and spent most of my time in Colombia, but decided to pursue new challenges in a different country after graduating high school. Therefore, I'm currently an international student in the United States. I have been living a dream since moving to New York, even though there were some difficulties. Learning a new language and adapting to a new culture. Overall, my experience has been amazing, meeting new people and learning new skills. My current major at CCNY is civil engineering, and my goals are to finish my career and continue my education, either working as an engineer or pursuing my master's degree. Being an international student can be challenging since I need to be a full student, pay out-of-state tuition, and keep up with my immigration status. But I'm completely happy with the opportunities presented and coming. I would like to mention again my gratitude to all the scholarship donors for helping many students, including myself, to achieve academic goals and graduate without debt. The scholarship will help me get some relief on my academic expenses and enjoy my time studying. Congratulations again to all the Alumni Association scholarship recipients, and thank you.
Thank you again. I actually want to pause and recognize that Ed Plotkin was a beloved member of our community and a former president of the Alumni Association. It was just this past April that he passed away. So if you are watching tonight, the Alumni Association would like to express our sincere condolences to Francis, his wife, and other members of the Plotkin family. We appreciate his leadership, contributions, and friendship during his long tenure as a member of the association. He is remembered and he is missed. And congratulations again to all of the scholarship recipients. So student support is an important part of the Alumni Association mission. And in 2020, the Alumni Association, despite the pandemic, sought to expand their reach of supporting current students and young alumni through mentorship. This led to the partnership with the City Tutors City Mentors program. Here to tell you a little about that partnership is Executive Director of the City Tutors, Gary Rifkin, and the Alumni Association President, Larry Greengrass. I'll have you both join us here again.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's an incredible privilege to be here and to speak to you as an alum. Shout out to the Humanities Division, to the English Department. Thank you, David, our host, and the Alumni Association for bringing us together. As a proud multiple degree CCNY alum, it's an honor to share with alumni here and watching at home this year's partnership between the Alumni Association and City Tutors, which is an organization that I founded and that has been incubated at City College within the Colin Powell School. So shout out to Andy Rich, Kevin Foster, and the team there. This organization is meant to expand access to individualized support around tutoring and mentoring across the city, but today I wanted to specifically mention our relationship of expanding access to mentoring with CCNY's Alumni Association. Since the start of this year, we've now had 30 alumni come back to support students and mentees through the mentees that have been working with us through various departments on campus. Mentees can step in and out of the program whenever they need to, just like using services at the Career Center, and request to meet with as many mentors as they'd like. The program also works in complement to more long-form mentorship programs and industry pipeline programs found in CUNY. For 65% of the mentees we serve, this is their first professional development experience. For 85%, it's their first mentorship. And this year alone, we've already supported nearly 2,000 students and have done nearly 3,000 mentorship events. Through the City Mentors, students and alums can get feedback on their resume and network with people in jobs and industries they would like to work in. They can also explore a wide range of industries they're interested in. And if they're actively seeking opportunities, we found that after just 3 mentoring sessions, 40% of mentees who are looking for opportunities secure with the guidance of their mentor an interview, internship, or job. Through this partnership, we've now have strengthened our mentor collective. We have now 700 mentors from across industries available, and we would like to grow the CCNY contingent of that collective. If you're interested to give back and support students and recent graduates looking for guidance in their career, we'd love to have you join us. You can visit our website at citytutors.org /mentorship, or reach out to David Covington and the staff at the Alumni Association for more information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. I just want to say that, I've done work with the Career Development Office a number of years, talking to groups of pre-law students and others. But when I signed up to be a mentor through Gary's City Mentors program and was assigned a young student to work with, I found it an extremely rewarding experience. And Dr. Boudreau gave you a charge earlier. I'm going to give you my own charge. Please strongly consider signing up to be a mentor. It could mean a great deal to a young student at the school. And I get as much out of the experience as I think the student does. So I highly encourage you to really give consideration and contact the City Mentors program and get involved. Thank you.
Thank you both. All right, it is time to resume our awards. We have 3 to go. And of course, the John H. Finley Award for Service and Good Citizenship. But before we get to the next award, do you hear that voice on the video? Like, if you're anything like me, it's like, who is that? Like, is that like a broadcaster? Is that like Oprah's cousin, somebody? It sounds amazing. That's actually the voice of Jane Tillman Irving, class of 1969. Thank you so much. That is incredible. I actually saved my video and posted it on my social media. I loved that video so much. So thank you, Jane. We sincerely appreciate you. So our fourth 2022 Townsend Harris Medalist is Dr. Henry Posamentier.
Dr. Henry Posamentier graduated from City College in 1970 with a BS in geology. He then earned an MA and a PhD from Syracuse University. Dr. Posamentier was an assistant professor in the Department of Geology at Rider University until 1979, when he transitioned from academia to industry, joining the research laboratory of Exxon Corporation as a research specialist. His breakthrough research resulted directly in the development of a new discipline, sequence stratigraphy. In 1991, Dr. Posamentier left Exxon to join the Atlantic Richfield Company in the role of senior research advisor. His research focus expanded from the study of stratigraphy to the evaluation of geomorphology using three-dimensional seismic data. This led directly to the development of the discipline of seismic geomorphology, which constituted a breakthrough in the study of subsurface geology. Dr. Posamentier has received numerous awards, among them the William Smith Medal from the Geological Society of London in 2010. This award, from one of the oldest and most prestigious geological societies, constitutes one of the highest honors in the field of geology.
I'd like to start by thanking the Alumni Association of CCNY for the honor which they have bestowed upon me. I'm most grateful for that recognition. An award like this is one of those rare times when we are called upon to look back and reflect on a lifetime journey. I'm often asked by young people just starting out how I planned my career trajectory. My response each time has been the same. That is, your career defines you rather than the other way around. My journey, as with most, seemed to turn on life-changing events both great and small. It began in my senior year at Bronx Science when I was applying to college. I had my heart set on going to Cornell, but my father was firmly against it, in that our family just didn't have the means to make that happen. So it was off to City College. In retrospect, I couldn't have asked for a better springboard to what has since come. It's been over 50 years since I graduated CCNY, more than half a century. I started out with little idea of what I wanted to pursue. When I entered, I defaulted to what came easy and, not coincidentally, to follow in my older brother's path. I chose to major in math. Later, towards the end of my freshman year, one of those serendipity events occurred, which changed the course of my life. The day before my first final, I was hit by severe abdominal pain, and within a few hours, I had an emergency appendectomy. Being young and somewhat immature, I was delighted in the fact that all my finals were deferred. Unfortunately, what I didn't appreciate in the moment was that taking makeup finals during the following fall semester would be way more difficult. And so it was that I barely passed my math course and was now seriously adrift with respect to the future. On a whim, I enrolled in Geology 101 in light of the fact that I had always loved the outdoors, and this was the closest thing to it. Another life-altering decision. But what really made the difference was the professor that I had for this course. His name was Cy Schaffel, and it was because of his enthusiasm and support that I switched into geology as a major. He changed my life. And so my career in geology began. I fondly remember those many hours spent in the labs at the top of Shepherd Hall, hanging out with my like-minded cohort. We were all so similar, all grateful to have had the opportunity afforded to us by CCNY. It was a rigorous program, but I can still recall some of the more significant challenges. What stands out most, in my mind, was my required courses in optical mineralogy and petrology. Both courses relied heavily on one's ability to recognize and leverage color. And that's where I struggled. I'm partially colorblind. Enough so that these courses were quite the adventure. But somehow I survived. And now, many years later, I can look back at a long and productive career using much of what I learned at City College. I could not have asked for a better launch pad. In closing, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my family for all their support through the years. I'm sure that my parents would have been thrilled to learn that not just one, but two of their children, my older brother Alfred and I, have both been awarded this honor. But in particular, I'd like to acknowledge and thank my partner in life, my best friend, and my soulmate, Kerry, for her support and companionship, and above all, the sacrifices that she has made in support of me and our family through these many years. Thank you very much.
In you, Henry Posamentier, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Dr. Posamentier is here tonight with his brother Alfred, who is also a AACCNY graduate and Townsend Harris Medalist. Impressive. Please join me in congratulating Henry on this achievement. Our next Townsend Harris Medalist is Dr. Leonard Susskind.
Leonard Susskind graduated from City College with a B.S. in physics in 1962 and received his Ph.D. in 1965 from Cornell University. He began as an assistant professor of physics at Yeshiva University and then Tel Aviv University before arriving at Stanford as professor of theoretical physics and the founding director of the Stanford Institute for Theoretical Physics. Among many specialties in physics, including quantum field theory, quantum statistical mechanics, and quantum cosmology, Susskind is widely regarded as one of the fathers of string theory. His career has been marked by notable contributions in the areas of the application of string theory to explanations of the dual resonance model of strong interactions in particle physics. Susskind's books, The Cosmic Landscape and The Black Hole War, have brought him more mainstream attention as a major thinker in physics and cosmology. He won the Palmeran-Chuk Prize in 2008, an award for distinguished science writing, the Sakurai Prize in 1998, along with the Boris Pregel Award from the New York Academy of Sciences in 1975.
It's an honor to be here and receive the Townsend Harris Award. I became a little curious about who Townsend Harris was. Turns out he was a diplomat in the early 1800s who negotiated a treaty with Japan, and an educator. And most interestingly, he was played in a movie by John Wayne. But to me, Townsend Harris always means the college building across from Shepherd Hall, where I learned that something called physics existed. First of all, I want to thank Professor Alexios Polychronakis, himself an eminent theoretical physicist of great accomplishment and a professor at CCNY, for nominating me. Let me tell you a little about myself and my family. I came from an immigrant family who came from Russia, Poland, Lithuania around 1900 to escape the Tsar. They settled in the South Bronx in extreme poverty. My father, Ben, was born in 1906. There was no safety net at that time. And in 1918, when Ben was 11 years old and in the 5th grade, the family was thrown into the street with all their belongings. He had to leave school and go to work as a plumber. Ben was a very strong person and managed to pull his family out of poverty and send his sister to college, Hunter College, by the way. But still, by the time I was a young teen, things were still very tough. At the age of 14, I went to work in the same profession, but I was able to continue in school. I did plumbing in the South Bronx for about 7 years, summers, weekends, after school. But when I was around 16, my father had an idea. All the old furnaces in tenement buildings in the South Bronx needed replacement, and he and I would go into business replacing them. The problem was, it took some engineering knowledge, which he didn't have. His idea? I would go to CCNY and learn some engineering. I was good at math, and I was admitted on probation. The first year at City College, I learned Physics 7 and 8. I don't know if Physics 7 and 8 still exist at the college, but what that was basic elementary physics and calculus. I loved it, and I found I was good at it. But by the second year, I ran into some trouble. The trouble was engineering. I was not cut out for engineering. And the specific problem, mechanical drawing. There was a professor of mechanical drawing whose name was Harold Rothbard. We became, incidentally, lifelong friends, but Harold Rothbard came over to my table one day while I was doing mechanical drawing, and he looked at my drawing and he said, "Susskind, I'm going to fail you in this course." And I said, "Well, Professor Rothbard, I can't fail. My father's waiting for me to go into business. I have to become an engineer." And he said, "No, you're not cut out for engineering. I'm looking at your drawing, and all over the place, it's the sloppiest drawing I've ever seen, ink blots all over the place. You can't be an engineer." And I said, "What am I going to do?" I thought, this is it. This is the end. He thinks I'm stupid. I'm not going to be able to come and become an engineer. And he looked at me and he said, "You have the mind of a scientist. You're very smart. You should become a scientist. Don't think about engineering." It was probably the best advice I have ever had from anyone. I went around looking at the various sciences at City College. First, I tried chemistry. To me, science meant chemists in white coats. But the chemistry professor told me, no, you'll have to take an extra 2 years of chemistry. You've never studied chemistry. So I went to the mathematics department and I met a professor, a very famous mathematician by the name of Jesse Douglas. Jesse took me under his wing a little bit, but eventually he also told me, "No, you're very, very smart, but you don't have the mind of a mathematician. You have the mind of a physicist. Go see Harry Sudak in the physics department," which I did. Harry Sudak was a guy from the same background that I came from. He smoked big cigars. He was a legendary professor at City College, and he took me under his wing. Within 6 months, I was hooked. Harry began to explain some things to me. I had assumed that all physics was done a few hundred years ago by Englishmen and Europeans, but Harry explained that physics was far from finished. It was a living, breathing subject with deep mysteries about the nature of the universe. And best of all, I could be part of it. During that period, I had worked out a new way to express some equations. They're called Maxwell equations, to be exact. Harry showed them to another professor, Lawrence Wills, a CCNY professor who was expert at Maxwell's equations, and he got excited. He took me to Columbia and to Princeton to explain my ideas. I was doing a lot of physics at that time, but not making much progress toward a degree. But eventually, with the help of yet another professor, Arthur Bierman, I was admitted to Cornell University as a graduate student. I was a bit lost and homesick when I went to Cornell University. It was the Ivy League. I had come from CCNY, a very, very different kind of institution, and I missed it terribly. I was terribly homesick for CCNY. I would have gone back to CCNY in a flash. But there I was at Cornell, a graduate student. I did well at Cornell. Eventually, I became a professor of theoretical physics. Some would say the professor of theoretical physics at one of the world's great universities, Stanford. I'm old now and have had many experiences, both in the world of science and outside it. But there is no question the defining period of my career, the inspiration, the open possibility was the time that I spent at CCNY, and I will forever be grateful for that opportunity. I had a student recently, well, not so recently, maybe 15 years ago, whose name was Jonathan, who came from City College, a graduate student who came to Stanford, who came from City College. He also came from a poor family. His father was a New York City cab driver. His mother was from Haiti, when she was a seamstress. Jonathan had made his way through CCNY and studied physics. And when we got to talking, when he came to Stanford, I discovered that his feelings were exactly the same as mine about CCNY, about the opportunity, about the open possibilities. And he loved the institution just as much as I did. I'm not sure how many years, almost 50 years after I had been there. So I think things have not changed, and I'm very glad to hear that. In conclusion, let me thank you for the honor of the Townsend Harris Award. Thank you, everybody.
In you, Leonard Susskind, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Us in person tonight, but he is watching from home, so please congratulate him once more via our video platform. And our last, but certainly not least, 2022 Townsend Harris Medalist is Dr. Alan Taylor.
Dr. Alan Taylor graduated with a BS in chemistry from City College in 1967. He received his PhD in organic chemistry and biochemistry from Rutgers University in 1973 and was a postdoctoral fellow at the University of California at Berkeley. Dr. Taylor has been directing research into the pathophysiology of age-related eye diseases for 35 years. He is senior scientist and director of the Nutrition and Vision Research Team at the HNRCA at Tufts University and a professor in both the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy and the School of Graduate Biomedical Sciences. Among his many awards, Dr. Taylor has earned the Denham-Harmon Award for Excellence in Aging Research, Osborne and Mendel Award for Excellence in Nutrition Research, Robert M. Russell Scientific Achievement Award from Tufts University, and the Pfizer Consumer Healthcare Nutritional Science Award from the American Society for Nutrition. He is founding director of the Scientific Training Encouraging Peace Graduate Training Program, a graduate program that fosters peace through collaboration between Israeli and Palestinian students.
First, let me thank Ruth Stark for nominating me and the organizers and selection committee for bestowing this honor on me. I am truly humbled. Congratulations, of course, to the other awardees. I'm going to tell you a story in two parts, one called The Ladder and the other called The Mountains in the Sky. This is a unique CCNY story, and if CCNY does its job, the story will be told many times by many people of all backgrounds in the future. But unlike many stories that get boring, each version of this story will enliven and motivate audiences, I hope. First, The Ladder. As a child of immigrant parents and a dad who at the top of his game earned $6,000 per year, I was so lucky to get into CCNY, where I could get an excellent college education at an institution with a major legacy of Nobel laureates, all free of charge. At CCNY, professors like Neil McKelvey took me aside, even though I was a lousy student, and he fascinated me with his first NMR. Professor Lefferts took me to his home to see original Matisses and Renoirs, not commonly seen in apartments in the Bronx. My dear friend Ira, also sitting here, also a CCNY student, kept me studying so I would not disgrace myself too badly. CCNY was indeed the ladder that permitted a view to a larger America. After CCNY, it was off to Rutgers in Newark, New Jersey, for my PhD in organic chemistry. My dad could not understand why I had to go so far away. From Newark, it was off then to Berkeley in 1973. What do you do in California in 1973? Of course, we were starting the revolution. But I got born again as a biochemist. More doors opened and the sky became the limit. My first job was to teach chemistry at Williams College, which you know is in a rather remote part of Massachusetts. We had chickens, we split wood to heat my house, and I did all the country things. But shortly after that, I moved to Harvard and then to Tufts University, where I direct a medical research lab that studies causes and potential new preventatives and treatments for age-related macular degeneration and cataract for the last 40 years. How lucky I am to be at the mountaintop and see our work moving into clinical trials, and the applications will be widespread. Because of my education, I have had fabulous scientific opportunities, and I worked with people all over the world, similar to the diversity that is CCNY. These experiences made me want to give back. So with Kim, my wife, we started Science Training Encouraging Peace. The acronym is STEP. STEP funds pairs of Israeli and Palestinian health sciences graduate level scholars to work together to earn their PhD. Their education enables them to advance their careers, serve their communities, and be examples of how Israelis and Palestinians can work together to create a more reasonable living situation. So again, it is the CCNY spirit that helps us create opportunity and bring diverse people together to take small steps in intractable situations to create big changes. Thank you, Townsend Harris, for creating the Free Academy of New York, CCNY. And thank you, CCNY.
In you, Alan Taylor, your alma mater has particular reason to rejoice.
Dr. Taylor is here tonight with his wife, Kim. Please join me in congratulating him again. So if you're anything like me, the favorite course is about to hit your table anytime soon. But as that happens, to all the Townsend Harris medalists, congratulations. A hearty congratulations. We applaud you on your outstanding postgraduate achievements. As our caterers bring out dessert, a reminder to everyone that the Townsend Harris medalist candidates are selected from nominations by a special committee comprised of former recipients of the medal and subject to final approval by the Alumni Association Board of Directors. To nominate someone for this award, please submit a cover letter and pertinent information, no more than 5 pages in total, for each nominee to the Townsend Harris Medal Committee, in care of David Covington. For more information on this award and to view past recipients, please visit the association website, ccnyalumni.org. And now for the Finley Award. As the third president of the City College, John H. Finley championed the concept of dedicated service to the community as the first principle of good citizenship. The Alumni Association is very proud to present the 75th John H. Finley Award to Anthony Romero.
Anthony D. Romero was born in the Bronx to Puerto Rican parents. Mr. Romero was the first member of his family to graduate from high school. He received his BA degree from Princeton University's Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs in 1987. He received a JD from Stanford University Law School in 1990. He is a member of the New York Bar. He was a Dinkelspiel Scholar at Stanford University, a Kane Scholar at Princeton, and a National Hispanic Scholar at both institutions. Romero started his career at the Rockefeller Foundation, notably leading a foundation review that helped determine future directions in civil rights advocacy. In 1992, Romero began working for the Ford Foundation and was promoted to director after 4 years, where he facilitated roughly $90 million in grants to civil rights, human rights, and peace projects. In September 2001, Anthony Romero became executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union, the nation's premier defender of civil liberties. Throughout his tenure, the ACLU has pursued aggressive litigation and advocacy, challenging the greatest injustices of our time, pursuing the freedom to marry for same-sex couples, and the elimination of racial disparities within the criminal justice system. Under Romero's direction, the ACLU filed over 400 legal actions against the Trump administration. In 2017, it won a nationwide stay of Trump's Muslim ban in a bit more than 24 hours after it was issued. Throughout the Trump administration, the ACLU won cases that extended anti-discrimination protections to transgender employees and blocked Trump's attempt to distort the U.S. Census by adding an unconstitutional citizenship question. Over the last few years, Romero has overseen the expansion of ACLU's work on state ballot referenda, voter education and turnout, and the launch of an ambitious systemic equality agenda to achieve racial justice. Anthony Romero was named in 2005 one of Time magazine's 25 most influential Hispanics. He received the Golden Plate Award of the American Academy of Achievement and the Woodrow Wilson Award from Princeton University.
To the stage, Mr. Anthony Romero.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a lovely evening. I've been thrilled to be with you tonight. And I want to thank especially the CCNY Alumni Association for hosting this wonderful event and allowing me to be a part of it. I want to thank Dr. Vincent Boudreau for his remarks and his kind welcoming. With this award, I now have an affiliation with 3 of the top universities in that ranking, right? So I have all 3. My grandmother had a saying that when I was a boy, she would say, Antonio, acuérdate que tiene madrina se bautiza. If you have a godmother, you will get baptized. And it was her way of saying to me, like, if you don't have anybody helping you out like I help you out, you're not going to do so well. And my godmother tonight is Yolanda Silvia Escolles, who wrote to me and said, if we were able to give you this award, would you please commit to coming? And I said, I would be delighted. And she's been my friend and my dinner date and my champion, my madrina all night. So thank you, Yolanda. You're very special. It's great to be back at City College. I've been here a number of times. And it's great when I ever come back to City College, I think about how far I've come and yet the very short distances I've traveled in my life. In a highly mobile society like the United States, it's odd for me to think of how much of my life has been lived in such a short geographic area. about 10 miles. My family and I grew up in the Bronx, and after about 9 years, we moved to New Jersey, where I finished up school. I went to college in that state, and then went out west to law school. But the gravitational pull of New York City somehow brought me back. Today, if you want to go from the ACLU office downtown to the Castle Hill projects where I grew up, it can feel like a very short trip. It's only literally you take the 4 or 5 train, you transfer on 125th Street, then you take the 6 to Castle Hill, you walk or you can take the bus down the street to the projects. It takes about an hour and a half. But it's a trip in the other direction that was a harder journey, one that took me from the streets where I saw drugs, where I grew up, where I saw violence in the southeast section of the Bronx. And it took literally decades to go from the projects to the corner office at the ACLU, which is now at the tip of Manhattan. And while New York City, and this room, in fact, is crowded with people who have had a similar journey from working class roots, from immigrant experiences, from humble beginnings, to enormous stature and enormous accomplishments, the journey I made is one I never could have taken alone. No one ever does anything meaningful by oneself. And I've been able to accept this award and be where I am today because there were institutions, large and small, public and private, that made it possible for people like me, the kid like me, to grow up and flourish into the man I am now. Now, in today's America, institutions get a bad rap. They're commonly seen as faceless or bureaucratic, indifferent, soulless, ineffective. But institutions matter. Bill Bowen, the former president of Princeton, once said, "Institutions exist to allow us to band together in support of larger purposes. They permit a continuity otherwise impossible to achieve, and they allow a magnification of individual efforts." Now, the individual efforts that benefited me were the teachers at the public schools that I attended. They were the social workers who helped me and my family when we struggled. They were like the union workers who took my father's case when he wanted a promotion and was denied it because he was Puerto Rican and dark-skinned and spoke with a very thick accent. It was individuals like those Princeton alums who wrote checks to underwrite minority scholarships. I was a third-year student at Princeton. I had done really well in my grades. And my father had just had a heart attack. And he wasn't able to pay the rent. It's about $300 was the rent at home. And when I knew that we couldn't pay the rent, I went to go see my faculty advisor, Juan Uson, a Hispanic guy. And I said, "I'm going to have to drop out after this semester." He's like, "Wait a minute, let me look at your transcript." What do you mean you're going to drop out? You got straight A's here. You can't drop out. Like, I got to drop out. I got to put food on the table. Got to pay the rent. He looked at me incredulously. He said, "Well, come back to me in a week. How much do you need?" I did the quick calculation of what rent was and what would help put food on the table. And I came back a week later. I told him the amount of money that I needed to get through the next year. And he had a check made out to me in cash to Anthony Romero for several $1,000s. I said, this is not I said, no, I don't want another loan. I got too many loans. He said, no, it's not a loan. It's a check. It's a check for you to give to your mom and dad with the hope and the promise that if they can afford to live, you can afford to come back and finish your studies. And I did. My life was improved. It was made possible. My life was made possible because individuals, even strangers, gave of their money to institutions that helped individuals like me. Some individuals toiled in challenging bureaucracies. Some deliberately exposed themselves to the pain and trauma of the people in the communities they were endeavoring to help. And all these individuals, they didn't do it for fame or fortune. They did it because they wanted to make a difference in other people's lives. And that's why I'm especially proud to be a recipient of the Finley Award. Because as a supporter of institutions that are historically vital to our society, that is exactly what City College of New York represents. CCNY has been at this for 175 years. You are an anchor in our city, in our communities. You are a beacon of learning and hope amidst the chaos and the ferment of the world outside. You have trained thousands of individuals, some of whom we saw tonight with the award, and yet others who've gone on to flourish and be titans of industry, individuals like Herb Sandler and Leon Levy, who I personally came to know, individuals like Gene Neidick and Colin Powell, who I later came to admire, the young students who I had a chance to talk to on a break, who are tomorrow's future leaders. And I think it's important that CCNY remain that type of institution you've always been: compassionate, vital, diverse, vibrant. And I dare say that your mission is challenged by the environment that we all now find ourselves in. Just 3 days ago, the Supreme Court heard arguments in a case that will likely give the green light to an assault on one of the very programs that makes institutions like CCNY possible: the assault on affirmative action. And before speaking to supporters of an institution that proudly serves students from 150 countries, I wanted to think long and hard about what I would say to you about affirmative action. I know I'm probably speaking to the choir, but hear me out. The assault on affirmative action is an assault on the very effectiveness of every single institution that we expect will lead this nation in an increasingly diverse, unsettled, and competitive world. The ACLU champions affirmative action not only because of the opportunities it creates for individuals, although my very presence here receiving that award is proof that affirmative action can do for one person. Affirmative action is about giving every single person the equal opportunity to compete. Not just because affirmative action is absolutely consistent with the meaning of the 14th Amendment, and in not some fiction of being a colorblind society, but in fact seeing color and difference and race and ethnicity as a way to level the playing field. But also, we argue in our brief before the Supreme Court that affirmative action is essential to student body diversity. It's a compelling interest to all institutions. The greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action are not the Latino or Black students. It's often the white students who get to benefit from a diverse student body, from diverse perspectives. They benefit because of a robust academic debate and inquiry that is in their classrooms. They're exposed to a broader set of ideas, of experiences, of backgrounds. They're exposed to individuals who will help them chart a course in their life that will be beneficial to them and their families. Now, affirmative action is what allowed me to make that trip from the Castle Hill projects to the corner office at the ACLU. I worked hard every step of the way. I earned my grades. I paid my dues. I had a lot of help from my family and loved ones and colleagues and others. But affirmative action gave me a shot. And that's why I'm unrepentant about being a proud beneficiary of affirmative action. That if I stand here today and I'm honored by you, it is only because you are honoring the efficacy of programs like affirmative action that have leveled the playing field for millions of individuals previous to us and future generations as well. We know it's been documented that affirmative action has practical benefits, that diverse teams do better research, they publish better science, they practice better law. Diverse campuses promote equitable access to the professions while preparing students from all walks of life for an increasingly diverse workforce. And I'm not surprised that CCNY, that has been living this mission and cultivating generations of students from diverse walks of life, finds itself on the top of the 3 rankings of universities. Because you are proof that, in fact, your diverse student body is what makes you so highly effective and so important in our nation's landscape. As we all endeavor to achieve individual success in our respective lives and careers, we also have to think about the ways in which our lives and our trajectories are enhanced by the real-world experiences of knowing what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes, what it's like to know difference, what it's like to understand a bit of struggle. And affirmative action and the presence of people from diverse walks of life helps make sure that we all are more rounded in our understanding of the human experience, that we can understand what it's like to struggle because we can see the struggle of people around us. And I think we all become better individuals as a result of it. I remain confident that individuals like you, organizations like mine, institutions like CCNY will continue to embrace diversity to build a future in which both poor kids from the Bronx and rich kids from the East Side can come together and flourish and learn and grow. I want to thank you for this enormous honor and privilege. Being a member of the City College of New York community means a great deal to me at a time when we must huddle and find our community, support one another, and chart the way forward. Our future is bright. When I look at the room of individuals in this dinner, and when I see the students who grace your halls, our future is bright because we will it so, because we dream it so, and because we build it so. Thank you for that, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Our future is bright because we will it so, because we build it so, and we dream it so. Thank you for your continued work with the ACLU. So as we head on the home stretch of our program tonight, I'll make one final toast. So everyone grab your glass. And there's some special people that we have to celebrate in our midst. So those celebrating a milestone anniversary as a graduate of the City College, could I have you please stand? So if you graduated in a year that ended in 2 or 7, so example, 2012 celebrating 10 years, class of 2007 celebrating 15 years, please stand. And let's raise a toast to the classes ending in 2 and 7 to celebrate them. Congratulations to all of you. So a few things before we end the evening. The lovely centerpieces tonight were provided by Hidden Spring Lavender Farm, appropriate as our school color is lavender. Each centerpiece is actually 10 bouquets of dried lavender for you to take with you. So once we end the program, feel free to grab 1 bouquet per guest, and it's yours to keep. We also need to give thanks to the generous organizations and individuals who supported this event by purchasing a table or an ad. The staff will bring up all of our underwriters on the screen now, but we wanted to especially thank our PhD level underwriters, Elaine Golding, and the United Federation of Teachers. And our graduate level underwriters, the Association Member Benefits Advisors, City College Office of the Provost, Gary Kalnick, class of 67, Aldelia, class of 73, Doris and Arthur Field, class of 56 and 55, respectively, Lawrence Greengrass, class of 73, Deborah and David Majorman, Frank Siame and Siame Construction, class of 74, Alan Taylor, class of 67, Carlo Zaskorsky, class of 72. All of our underwriters are in the event journal, so we thank them very much for their support. And also a big thank you to the incredible staff that made tonight possible. The CCNY audio team led by Carlos Fonseca. The video and lighting provided tonight by Park Boulevard Productions led by Chris Bergbaum. Streaming and video production by Connective Productions led by Nadal Kanari. And of course, the Alumni Association staff. David, where are you? Stand and wave. David Covington, Nina Farrell, Anthony Spitzer, Karen Fialos, Indiana Rodriguez, Joy Debnath, and Bridget Guevara, alongside a number of volunteers that helped to make tonight possible, including Dejanay Gray, Sebastian Bush, Ernest Pierre-Louis, and a round of applause for that entire team. I feel like when you're closing out, you say lastly or in closing or as we wrap up about 10 different times, but I promise you this is like the real time. So a hearty congratulations to the Alumni Association for 170 years of service. This association has been around for, that's a long time. One more clap for them, 170 years as an independent organization because of you, serving alumni, financially supported by alumni, and directed by alumni. The primary means in which we do this is membership. So without your loyalty and support, we would not be able to continuously provide the valuable benefits and programs that we currently do. So simply put, membership makes what we do possible. All right, membership makes a resounding statement of commitment to the entire CCNY community, connects you to your vast alumni network, strengthens that network through programs. We spoke about our mentoring program earlier today, and communications designed to keep us engaged, as well as fueling our scholarship efforts. So if you need to renew your membership, there is a table in the back. For those of you watching online, ccnyalumni.org. And if you're not even sure if you're a member or not, no worries, we can look that up for you and we can fix that tonight. All right, so this concludes the formal portion of our program. However, you know this is a CCNY event, so we have some incredible musicians who have been working with us today. I'd like to acknowledge them, please. They're a current Miss of CCNY students. Thanks to Professor Michael Holober for curating this group, which consists of Paul Janaszka from Germany on piano. He's a graduate student. Danielle Nagel from the Netherlands. He's on bass, also a graduate student. Finn Beast from Germany on drums, also a graduate student. Aris Dolce, he's an undergrad student on the saxophone from Florida. And vocals, which you are about to hear from a graduate student, Simona Danieli. So you know it's a CCNY event. To close it out, got to sing our song. I told you I'm going to stick to my medicine. My voice isn't ready. So Simona, we invite you to the stage to please lead us in Lavender, My Lavender. And you all have to sing along. Simona, please join us. And you can certainly take it away.
Sturdy sons of City College, trusty hearts and mighty hands, rally where your streaming banner with its dauntless emblem stands. Send a cheer to heaven ringing, filled with love and fond acclaim, fate and pride in alma mater and her never dying fame. Lavender, my lavender, lavender, my lavender, on the field of life endeavor, bound by ties that now otherwise of City College. We are wise and we are strong. We will bring your pride and glory with our lives. Unending song. Oh, will join us with our singing songs of love and fond acclaim, faith and pride in alma mater and her never dying fame. Lavender, my lavender, lavender, my lavender, on the field of life's endeavor, bound by ties that now can savor. Highway alma mater has savor. Lavender, my lavender. Lavender, my lavender. Lavender, my lavender.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our musicians. And thank you all for coming out this evening. It was my pleasure to serve as your host. Good night, everyone, and please get home safely.
Night and day, you are the one. Only you beneath the moon and under the sun. Whether near to me or far, it's no matter, darling, where you are, I think of you. Night and day, day and night, why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In the roaring traffic boom, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you. Night and day, day and night, under the height of me, there's no such a hungry yearning burning inside of me. And this torment won't be true till you let me spend my life making love to you, day and night, night and day. doesn't matter, darling, where you are. I think of you night and day, day and night. Why is it so that this longing for you follows wherever I go? In a roaring traffic spoon, in the silence of my lonely room, I think of you night and day, day and night. Under the height of me, there's no such a hungry yearning burning inside of me. And this torment won't be true till you let me spend my life making love to you, day and night, night and day, day and night, night and day, day and night. One, two, no. Bossa. One, two, a pedal. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Estate, sei calda come i baci che ho perduto, sei piena di un amore che è passato, che il cuore mio vorrebbe cancellare. Il sole che di giorno ci scaldava, che splendidi tramonti dipingeva, e adesso brucia solo con furore. Tornerà un altro inverno, cadranno 1000 petali di rose e la neve coprirà tutte le cose e forse un po' di pace tornerà. Estate che ha dato il suo profumo ad ogni fiore, l'estate che ha creato il nostro amore, per farmi poi morire di dolore. Tornerà un altro inverno, cadranno 1000 petali di rose, la neve coprirà tutte le cose e forse un po' di pace tornerà. Dato il suo profumo ad ogni fiore, l'estate che ha creato il nostro amore, per farmi poi morire di dolore. Treat me sweet and gentle when you say goodnight. Just squeeze me, but please don't tease me. I get sentimental when you hold me tight. Just squeeze me, but please don't tease me. Missing you since you went away, singing the blues away each day, counting the nights and waiting for you. I'm in a mood to let you know I never knew I loved you so. Please say you love me too. When I get this feeling, I'm in ecstasy, so squeeze me, but please don't tease me. squeeze me, but please don't tease me. I get so sentimental when you hold me tight. Just squeeze me, it seems to wide away, singing the blues away each day, counting the nights and waiting for you. I'm in the mood to let you know I never knew I loved you so. Please say you love me too. When I get this feeling, I'm in ecstasy. So squeeze me by, please don't tease me. So one pedal here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pack up all my cares and more. Here I go, singing low. Bye bye, blackbird, where somebody waits for me. Sugar sweet, so easy. Bye bye, blackbird. No one here can love or understand me. Oh, what are like stars that you'll have me. Make my bed and light a light, 'cause I'll arrive late tonight. Blackbird, bye. Pack up all my cares and more. Here I go singing solo. Bye, bye, blackbird, where somebody waits for me. Sure, sweet, so easy. Bye, bye, blackbird. No one you can love or understand me. Oh, what are love stories they'll hand me? Make my bed and light a light. I'll arrive late tonight. Black, 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 blackbird. Black, 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 blackbird. Bye, 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 blackbird. Bye, bye. Thank you. No, skip. Easy to love. Easy to love. One, you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always. You'd be so easy to love, so easy to idolize all others above, so worth the yearning for, so swell to keep every home fire burning for. You'd be so grand at the game, so carefree together that it does seem a shame that you can see your future with me, 'cause you'd be oh so easy to love, and you'd be so easy to love, so easy to idolize all others above, so worth the yearning for, and so swell to keep every on fire burning for, and you'd be so grand at the game, so carefree together that it does seem a shame that you can't see your future with me, 'cause you'd be oh so easy to love. you'd be so easy to love, so easy to idolize, so others above, so worth the yearning for, so swell to keep every on fire burning for, and you'd be so grand at the game, so carefree together that it does seem a shame that you can't see your future with me, 'cause you'd be oh so easy, you'd be oh so easy, you'd be so easy to